Hello Peter, it's Geoffrey here. I'm responding to the Brother Talk videos in which you responded to my first question about fasting. I thought it was an insightful video in which you're really succinct, and I enjoyed the idea that people are thinking about those that are less fortunate than themselves. I don't think that can ever be a bad thing. And I think you really hit on the heart of what I really wanted to know, which was more about God and the idea of God. And so you went on to talk about why you think God can love us. You had 2 points in your discussion, one a more philosophical argument and another more Christian rounding of the idea of how God might love us. And I want to talk firstly about your philosophical argument. First off, I want to say that I'm going to take the assumption that there is a being that created the entire universe, or is the universe. First of all, I'm going to take that on. Secondly, I quite like the idea that love is helping someone without gaining anything yourself. I think there's no problems with that. But I don't think that I agree with the main crux of the statement. If we have moments of happiness, God has been the prerequisite for our existence, and therefore, because He's created happiness, He loves us. I think there's a very easy problem with that I find it difficult to overcome, and that's the fact that if we have suffering, then should we feel that God hates us? Or if we're bored, should we feel that God's indifferent to us? And so on around the palette of every single emotion. And then to me it goes to the logical conclusion of God everything's us, which doesn't really tell me a great deal about God, I don't think. And it certainly feels like we're pinpointing on one emotion, taking that out, ascribing that to God, and ignoring the rest of the emotional palette. And the second thing is that I have a problem with the argument's usage by a very small group. I think that they're an extremist faction that I don't think have anything to do with the Catholic Church, but still subscribe to Christianity, who take this idea that if God creates our happiness, then God loves us, and if He creates our suffering, then He's not so happy with us. And they use that to justify some bigotry. So I have a problem with that. It's sometimes, I think a facile example is a group of Christians who say, if there's suffering, that's God doing that. We justify that by a punishment, and they would say that the AIDS virus is a punishment for our treating of homosexuality as being too lenient. And I think that using that argument to justify bigotry means that the argument's a little bit undermined. Or anyway, I have 2 questions for you. One, how do you deal with my problem with the argument that if we're suffering, does God hate us, and so on and so forth? That's question 1. And secondly, how do we deal with people misusing this argument to lend weight to their bigotry? And those are my questions for you. Thank you, Peter.